Just munching to start this episode, huh, Spinny? What are we munching on over there?
Grapes, baby.
Grapes. Ooh, you're
Just
healthy.
annoying all our viewers with just chewing to my mic.
Grapes sound really good right now, though, not gonna lie. Hardies and Hardos, though, we are back at it. Another fantasy special for y'all this week. We're changing it up a little bit. We're going to focus on player usage / trends and what to do with those in-betweeners on your roster. Buy or sell, dump them. We're covering all of it today. Let's just start with the player trends, Spinny. I'll start with a guy that's trending up, no doubt about it, and that's Breece Hall. He, first, in terms of carries, it has increased each game. He went from 6, then 7, then 8, and this past week, 17 carries he got and scored his first rushing touchdown as well. He also has 15 catches in 4 games, which is pretty solid, especially considering the backfield split through 4 games to have that many catches. That's pretty good. Snap percentage, another trend that's going up for Breece Hall. 45% week 1, 27% only in week 2, 51% week 3, and now 66%. 2/3 of the plays he was on the field for this past week. And fantasy, obviously, those numbers are going up as well. 6 points, 12.5, 12, and 14.8 fantasy points. Breece Hall, to me, seems like a lock for RB2 based on his potential, just his skill in general, and now the usage that we are seeing. I think this will be the trend throughout the rest of the year. I expect as it started the season, it was more 60-40, 50-50, 60-40 Michael Carter, maybe 50-50. I expect it to be 60-40 or maybe even up to that 66-33, or it's almost a 2/3, 1/3 split for Breece Hall going forward.
Yeah. Michael Carter is actually on my trending down, so we'll just throw him in right now. And that was the split last week. 66-33 was the exact split last week for Carter and Breece. So I feel like that's a very logical thing going forward. And Michael Carter has, on top of getting less touches, he also has got less points, pretty much, as the weeks have gone. 13 week 1, then 7, then 5, then 3.9. All our points in half PPR this week. But yeah, Michael Carter completely trending down on carries, trending down on targets, trending down on snap count. So Breece Hall's just winning the job.
9 carries for 15 yards for Michael Carter this past week. Just brutal performance by him. Do you have anybody trending up?
I do have a couple of guys trending up, a couple of guys that both played 96% of the snaps last week. And that is Allen Lazard and Romeo Doubs, 2 Packers wide receivers. Lazard last 3 weeks, 8.3, 12.5, 14.6. So again, trending up. You can tell that Rodgers trusts him more than any of the other receivers, even Romeo Doubs, who has also been trending up in snap count percentage, 57 and 37 in weeks 1 and 2, and then 89 and 96 in the last 2 weeks. And Christian Watson, who has been a little bit injured, but also his snap count, obviously, with that has significantly gone down. So it looks like Doubs, at least at first, is the better between those 2 receivers. 17.3 and 13.2 in the 2 weeks that his snap count has went up. He's at a touchdown both weeks. So Rodgers does like getting it to him, and he has made use of all the touches he's got. He's a playmaker guy I don't want to play against, but both Packers receivers in fantasy definitely trending up.
I do have a question for you, Spinny. Do you think you can consider Lazard a WR2 yet, or we got to see a couple more weeks?
I mean, it's getting there. I mean, I wouldn't – if I was trading for – I would be trading for Lazard right now, not trading him away. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely a player to buy right now.
Yeah,
Players that is like complete opposite of these next 2 guys that I'm going to talk about that are trending down. Try to get rid of them if you can, even though I really doubt. Somehow Spinny was able to get rid of one of them today. I don't know how the hell he did that. But that is the Rams backfield. Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. Oof. We got RB 52 right now. 52 for Cam Akers. Most people drafted Cam Akers as their RB2. So that is tough looks there. Yeah. I know I did that in only one of my leagues, but Henderson, on the other hand, RB 39 for him. It's funny. I combined their points and I looked at the rankings. Combined all their points together, they're still only RB 21. So they're not even an RB 2. They're RB 3 combined. So that's depressing to think about.
Come
But
on, Rams.
the snap percentages. Listen to this for Cam Akers: 18% week 1, 44%, 50, then 38. And other hand, Daryl Henderson, on the other hand, 82, 56, 50, and 59. So it's starting to get towards that 50-50 split exactly. And you absolutely hate that when it comes to fantasy. That's because then they're getting limited touches every single game. And especially an offense that's looked absolutely horrible so far, they're not getting yards or touchdowns to back up the lack of touches. So these are guys trending down basically everywhere. I mean, Cam Akers had a 0-pointer and a 1.3 this past week. So to have those two performances in a span of only 4 weeks, yeah, these guys are trending down. And like I said, try to get rid of them if you can. I don't know if you're going to be able to, but somehow Spinny was able to fleece Cam Akers off his team today.
Yep, and I got Najee Harris.
Yeah,
Cam Akers, Devin Singletary for Najee, and Curtis Samuel, another guy who I think is on the up. So
you literally can't make that trade up.
Interesting one there. My trending down is a guy who I just believe is going to get less snap counts and has overall, and that's Antonio Gibson. His snap counts have went down significantly as the weeks have gone on. And also, Brian Robinson is on his way back. Only played 41% of the snap counts last week, did Antonio Gibson, 44 the week before, 54, 64. Now, you might be saying, why is a guy who's an RB2, who's the RB19 right now, and has scored up until last week, had scored at least 10 points every week? But there is a potential this week that he is only seeing the field on 20% of the snaps if Brian Robinson comes back the way they think he will. So if that happens, and then with McKissick as well and Jonathan Williams, like there's a lot going on in the Washington backfield, and Gibson seems to be on the bottom of it.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you there. My last guy I want to highlight for trending down is a guy that I didn't think I would have to talk about in this regard this season, and that's Kyle Pitts. I don't know what the hell is going on with Kyle Pitts this season. It's been absolutely terrible. Catches 2, 2, 5, and only 1 catch this past week. Yards 19, 19, 87, and 25. Like literally has 3 of his 4 games under 30 total yards receiving. That is brutal. Snap percentage has even gone down too, which I don't get that at all. Snap percentage has gone down 84, 95, and then 67 and 62 these past weeks. He hasn't even played 70% of the offensive snaps these last 2 weeks, either of the games. So I don't know what the hell is going on with Kyle Pitts. He's not getting targeted. He's not even starting to play. I am panicking on Kyle Pitts. I only have him in 1 league, but it's time to hit the panic button on Kyle Pitts. Ship him out if you can. Try to buy high right now, but it's probably too late, honestly, at this point, with Mariota as his QB.
And on the opposite, dynasty leagues, have you tried to get Kyle Pitts on the low? Because we've seen what Kyle Pitts can do when he's involved in the offense.
Facts, 100%.
It's just crazy. It's like they've turned Kyle Pitts into a left tackle. Like our super athletic, awesome, unbelievably talented.
What was he again?
1,000 yards as a rookie. Only second tight end ever to do that. Fourth, highest drafted tight end ever. And we're just gonna make him a blocker. Absolutely crazy. But Atlanta's been frisky, so who knows? All right, that's it for trending down, huh? So now we're on to even trending down lower, and that's our Dumpsville guys that you should definitely consider cutting from your team after 4 weeks. And my first guy is a perennial mid fantasy receiver in the last couple of years. But
perennial mid player.
This year he deserves to be dropped, and that is Jarvis Landry. Snap count's gone down weekly. He got hurt in week 3 with that ankle injury, so that's why it was way down. But this week against the Vikes, he had 63 63% of snaps he ran routes on, and he had 2 targets. Last week, 5 targets. Week before that, 5 targets. Not getting a lot of targets, playing on a low percentage of the snaps, and he's wide receiver 55 right now in half PPR. So just a guy that is owned in about 50% of leagues that you could definitely find some better and higher ceiling options on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Landry is definitely droppable at this point. And moving on to another receiver you said Landry was 55. Somehow this guy is managed to be lower than Jarvis Landry this year, even though he was supposed to be a WR2, and that is WR72 at the moment, Allen Robinson.
72.
WR72. He is 214th overall in fantasy points right now. 214th. He's not in the top 200. He has 3 games with less than 3 points. In 4 games, he only has 18 targets, 9 catches, and 95 yards and 1 touchdown. This makes absolutely no sense. I don't get it because listen to this snap count. 97, 92, 92, and 99% of snaps played this past week against the 49ers. He is on the field all the time, not getting the ball ever. He's not even part of the game plan. It doesn't seem like he's going to ever be part of the game plan. And even if he was, quote unquote, part of the game plan coming in, I don't think Stafford's going to throw him the ball. Stafford hikes the ball and literally looks at Cooper Kupp every time. Cooper Kupp had 19 targets or something ridiculous this past week and 14 catches. So, yeah, this is if you have Allen Robinson, just go ahead and dump him because you're not going to be able to get a trade-off at this point.
Yeah, that Allen Robinson's been absolutely awful. What did we say? 54 routes he ran this past week and had 2 targets, 2 catches on 54 routes. Absolutely insane. My last Dumpsville guy is a borderline Dumpsville guy, and I just put him there because of the projection where we thought he could be, and that's WR51, DJ Moore. DJ Moore has a lot of things about him where you would think you'd want to keep him, and he could be trending up. He had 6 targets the first 3 weeks, 11 targets last week. He's played at least 96% of the snaps in all the games. But they also play San Francisco, the Rams, Tampa, Atlanta. Those next 4. Atlanta's defense has been good this year. Check it out for those of you who don't know. But I just struggle to see where DJ Moore is going to get production. And I don't believe in him. And he's done this multiple years before. And so I've had him. He screwed me over. This year we're just cutting the cord early on DJ Moore. And that's the big thing is I don't think you're getting any trade value for him. You could maybe get another bench or borderline waiver wire guy. If that's what you're looking for. But like if you want to trade him for Cam Akers or Allen Robinson, you might get it. But that's about the level we're at with DJ Moore.
Yeah, that is sad to think that DJ Moore is a droppable player. I did not foresee that happening this season. So, oh my gosh, I have to break this news, Spinny. You're in this league too. I was just saying no chance you can trade Cam Akers right now, but here we got 2 guys we just talked about for trending down got traded for each other. We just had a Cam Akers Antonio Gibson swap in our league.
What
right
league
now.
is this in?
The 12-team one.
The 12-team dynasty?
No, 12-team keeper.
Oh, GFW.
Yeah.
Really?
Akers for Gibson, straight up, boys.
Wow, that is a garbage town trade on both sides.
Garbage
for garbage.
Please drop comments below on your thoughts on that trade because I can't believe that just went down.
I mean, you can't blame either of them. They're both just tired of looking at their guys sucking on their teams.
Right.
Try something different.
We'll switch mid players here.
Yeah, literally.
I love it. That's funny. All right, my next Dumpsville guy, RB65. That's Kenneth Walker. I don't think and this is obviously we're talking redraft leagues here. Do not drop this man in Dynasty. Absolutely no chance you're dropping this man in Dynasty. But redraft leagues, go ahead, drop him. He won't be a factor this season, unfortunately. He's 301st overall in points. His fantasy points, he's only played 3 games, 2.5, 4.8, and 2.9. So he only has 15 carries in those 3 games. That's 5 carries a game. Rashad Penny has been the clear lead back in Seattle. So in that same 3-game stretch, Rashad Penny has 36 carries for 232 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he has almost 200 more yards and 21 more carries than Kenneth Walker. So it's sad to see. I know I necessarily wasn't because I just wasn't high on the Seahawks, obviously in general coming in, but I know a lot of people are high on Kenneth Walker this season just based off his talent and his ability coming out of college. But yep, this is not a guy that will be fantasy relevant this season. So go ahead and drop him.
I like it. And there's Dumpsville.
I do have
segment.
one more guy I want to roast.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And that's WR, a guy who's somehow worse than Allen Robinson. WR 81, Darnell Mooney.
Yeah. Okay, we can't roast Darnell too much. Come on.
248th in fantasy points. He has, in his 4 games, 1.3, 0.1, 3.3, 11.4. He actually had a solid game this past week. He only has 8 catches on 16 targets this year for 121 yards, 0 touchdowns. This is a run-heavy offense. Fields is struggling. I mean, you can't really blame him because Mooney is literally the only weapon he has in terms of pass catchers. So once Fields can get some more actual weapons, maybe a Mooney and Fields as well can be fantasy relevant. But yeah, this year in this run-heavy offense, Darnell Mooney, he's not even worth a bench stash at this point. So just cut him. Just end it.
Like that. Sorry about my 500-second stutter. There was just a giant thunder right outside my house here, and I was just like freaked out by it and just couldn't put my words into words. You know what I mean? Words into words. Yeah. Exactly. Welcome to the podcast where we say words into words. All right. There was a Dumpsville segment, bunch of crap. Get him off your team. Try to trade him if you can. Right. Maybe you'll sneak Najee Harris off of one of them. Who knows? All right. Now on to buy and sell, huh? Should we start with buy
and sell? Sure. Let's start with buy.
All right.
You want me to go? I'll go with WR 82 at the moment. Chris Godwin. He's only WR 82 based on lack of games. His first game back this past week had 10 targets already, 7 catches, 59 yards. Obviously, the yards a little low, but you expect that from him running the slot and running those shorter routes for Tom Brady. He had 9.4 fantasy points, played 83% of the snaps, which I thought was a pretty high number given his injury that he just came off of. So, and as we know with Tom Brady, he sucks in September. He's going to get better. We already saw him be a lot better this past week. So a guy that's now healthy, who is going to get at least 10 targets every game from Tom Brady, who will be playing better. This is a guy to buy right now. I think you could buy low on Chris Godwin. You could probably finesse a deal for him on the low right now, given his lack of games.
Oh, really? Tom Brady's terrible in September. We all know he's going to get better, huh? Interesting.
It's Tom Brady.
Interesting.
He has some ridiculous
super original take, I heard. Extra.
That's not even a take. I'm just saying.
Extra original.
It's not even a take at this point. It's just a fact that Tom Brady is ass in September, and then he just gets better. You want me to whip out his September stats?
I want to know when the last time you heard that argument was before you just made it. That's
some guy.
That's what I'm asking about.
Some guy named Spinny might have said that to me the other day. But yes.
Okay. Just want to make
sure. It still rings. It rings true. So I had to say
keeping our creative content and who created our creative content, right? No, I'm just kidding. I just had to give you crap for stealing it. All right. My guy is... Should I make you wait any longer, folks? Just kidding. My guy right now is WR66. So another low-ranking wide receiver. And this is not coming in snap count, but is coming in targets. And that is George Pickens. Now, with Kenny Pickett being the starter, we saw at the second half of last week how much he targeted Pickens. Deontay Johnson was targeted just twice in the second half by Kenny Pickett, and George Pickens was targeted 4 times for 71 yards. both of those guys are playing a huge majority of the snaps, and Pickett is consistently chose Pickens over Johnson last week. Pickens also had 4 targets. All 4 of his targets were 20-plus yards down the field. So he's looking to stretch the field to this guy, and that could result in some seriously cool fantasy production. So buying, especially in redraft leagues on the low that you could get George Pickens, is a good buy.
I like that. Same with Freiermuth, too. Freiermuth had a great game last week, and it seemed that Pickett would rather target him over Deontay Johnson as well. Obviously, one game, we'll see how it goes going forward, but I agree. Another buy guy, especially this guy you could get for low right now, and that's TE46. What? Tight end 46? Yes, that's George Kittle. Trade for him on the low right now. He, in his 2 games, has played 91 and 94% of the snaps. Jimmy G just became starting quarterback recently. He's going to become more comfortable and improve his game as the season goes on. And the main reason here for lack of targets, lack of production so far in his 2 games is he's had to block. He's been on the line blocking essentially all the time because Trent Williams has been hurt. He is in his quote, and he said he's back soon. And his quote was in no time. So we should expect Williams back here, maybe this week, maybe next week. We'll see what happens with him. But when Trent Williams is back, Kittle's going to be back out running routes and being a playmaker that he is. So this is a guy to buy low now because it's going to be too late in a couple weeks once he's already had a big game.
I like it. I definitely like that. Mine is a guy who I wish we would have had this segment last week because then I would have looked really smart. And that is Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs just had a go-off week, obviously, so you might have to buy him higher than you did before. But his carry share, 10, 19, 13, 28. He's had 5 and 6 targets in the last week. Josh McDaniels is doing what Josh McDaniels does with bell cow running backs, and even not bell cow running backs, LeGarrette Blount, Sony Michel for a year. Dion Lewis even got a ton of carries that 1 year in New England. He loves giving his running back big carries. Josh Jacobs is RB7 right now. I think that's a lot higher than any of us thought he was going to be, and I think it's going to continue just based on the Raiders' offense.
I agree with you there. My transition to another running back, that's RB15, Dameon Pierce. 5.22 yards per carry so far. That's amazing for the rookie. His snap percentage is continuing to go up every game. He only started with 29% in week 1, then 62, 59, and 68 this last week. So you love he's getting about 70% of the touches, and that should continue going forward. Rex Burkhead will just be more of a change of pace guy going forward. I anticipate his carries 11, 15, 20 2 weeks ago, and 14 this past week. His yardage has literally gone up every game, 33, 69, 80, and then 131 this past week, including 2 touchdowns. So this is definitely guys trending up in all regards. And as a rookie on a bad team that's going to get a ton of snaps and a ton of opportunity, this is a guy you need to trade for right now. And because again, in a couple weeks, it'll be too late because he's going to have another good game. He has a plus matchup this week. I think he can flirt with another 15-plus point performance here. So even after next week, it might be too late on Dameon Pierce. So jump on Dameon Pierce right now.
Yep, credit to me again. Guy said before the season in our pre that was going to be good. I'm taking all the Dameon Pierce credit. Another guy I took that a lot of guys didn't because of injury is J.K. Dobbins. He finally got more touches this week, played 50% of the snaps, 13 rushing attempts, 4 targets, 17 total touches. And he had 2 touchdowns. So that was how he scored a lot of his points. Only had 45 total yards. So in half PPR without the touchdowns, he's only scoring about 7. Found the end zone twice. I think that's going to be common the rest of the season, especially with the Ravens offense. If he can stay healthy, J.K. Dobbins is a buy right now. And I think that's it.
That's it.
All right, let's get it.
Now on to selling. My first guy is a guy Spinny talked about trending down. That's Antonio Gibson. I won't dive into him too much here. It's just reiterating what Spinny said earlier. You got Robinson coming back. He hasn't even played that well. He's got only 3.26 yards per carry so far. But yeah, his snap percentages has been going down each game, and his fantasy production has gone down as well. And Brian Robinson, I mean, he was supposed to be RB1, correct?
That's what the
He
rumors
was
were.
depth chart RB1 when he was unfortunately shot. Literally crazy situation. So I anticipate it might take a week or two, but I anticipate him becoming RB1 at some point, and this will probably be a backfield to completely avoid, especially with JD McKissick. So this is probably going to be a weird, like, I don't even know, 50, 25, 25 split probably, maybe even closer.
Not a good looking backfield you want to be involved in. My first sell is a big time free agent running back that's getting outperformed by a low key old free agent running back, and that is Chase Edmonds. Raheem Mostert getting most of the snap count. Edmonds only had 8 total touches last week, 5 rushes, 3 targets, and only played 28% of the snaps. His snap count is going down. He stayed alive in fantasy because of touchdowns the last 2 weeks. So if you have him, his fantasy stats still look pretty good. You can maybe trade him on the high, and I would be shipping him out in the leagues that I have right now.
Yeah, yesterday I was able to ship out Edmonds with Jeff Wilson for Allen Lazard. So I thought that was kind of perfect timing on my part there. My next sell, actually, I'll just say both of them at the same time. They're both receivers. Both should have been a lot better than they are right now. First one, Mike Thomas. He is just an injury concern. I am not confident that he's going to be able to stay healthy for the majority of the rest of the season. He hurt his foot that he has been dealing with injuries for the last 2 years. So to see a similar injury happen, that's never good. And his target share, I mean, his catches have only been about 5 every game for about 50, 60 yards every game. So it's not, and he's been saved by 2 touchdowns. This first game, I think he had, 5 catches, 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. So his fantasy games, even so far, have just been saved off of touchdowns. So you got Olave trending up big time, and the injury risk, I think Mike Thomas is a guy you could probably sell high on right now so far. Unless you keep waiting, then obviously your value is going to diminish there. Juju is my other guy. I don't know how much you're going to be able to get for Juju at this point. Mahomes spreads it around a lot. Juju doesn't obviously give me true WR1 vibes the way it is. So I feel like Mahomes understands that. So Mahomes just going to spread it around and give it to the guy that's open. Doesn't really necessarily care if it's Juju or who it is. Kelsey is basically the only lock, I feel like, for pass catchers for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you might be able to get something good for Juju just based on the fact that he's on the Chiefs. Someone might still have some hope for him, but I'm seeing a back-end WR3 vibes for Juju going forward.
Yep, I like that. My last sell is Melvin Gordon. And you might be thinking, what? Javonte Williams just got hurt. Why are you selling him? Mike Boone was actually the first running back off the bench for the Broncos right away. Then Gordon came on, and then he fumbled again. And it's just a constant. You can't keep the ball safe, and you're not going to win a running back job in the NFL in the current climate like that. They also signed Latavius Murray off the practice squad, and I think he could be the one that actually gets more of the carries as the weeks go by. So sell on Melvin Gordon at a point when a lot of people still might think he has some value as the RB1 in Denver, which I don't even know is going to happen. Sells on Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, that's going to be a weird split with Boone, Gordon, and Latavius Murray. I don't really trust it. You would think theoretically that Gordon would be the lead back, but yeah, like you said, those fumbling issues, that's been a thing his whole career. I don't know why that man's never been able to figure that out.
Facts. Well,
that is
hopefully we just figured
week.
out our fantasy episode better than Melvin Gordon's fumbling issues, but
yeah.
But here we are, fantasy episode number 3. So keep checking us out. Subscribe, like, comment on the post or any of our other stuff. Check out our channel, even if you just watched the fantasy episodes. We got a decent amount of views on this last week, so thanks to the Hardys and Hardos for checking us out, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. See you guys next week.